What's up guys, Woody here, back with another Mythgard video, and it's another new to Mythgard video. And today we are talking about paths and powers, or actually today, more specifically, we're talking about paths, and then we're going to be talking about powers in the follow-up video, which should be live 1 or 2 days after this one. Now, these videos are now available in 2 lovely places for you sexylicious people. You can get them on the What's Up Woody YouTube channel. They're still going to be going there, but they're also going to be going over on Team Rankstar's YouTube channel as well. Now, the benefit of over on Team Rankstar's YouTube channel is that they're also going to be in an article on Team Rankstar's website, which, how I guess, is teamrankstar.com. Over there, they'll be linked together. So, for example, once both the path and powers videos up there, they'll be linked together in a very short article, kind of reiterating what I'm saying in the video, but just in text form as well. So if there's any kind of tips or cards to talk about, then you can get them in text form over on the Team Rankstar website and Team Rankstar YouTube channel. But anyway guys, let's jump into this new to Mythgard video. And as I said, today we are talking about more specifically paths. Okay, now for those who don't know, let's say you've played 1 or 2, maybe 3 games in Mythgard. You're brand spanking new. What the hell is a path? Well, if you've come from games like Gwent, a path is effectively a passive leader ability. It's the best way to see it, get your head around it. By passive, I mean you don't have to activate paths. By doing stuff with your deck in your game, paths will give you stuff back. And choosing what path to help bolster your deck and what passives you want to get back from them is all part of the deck building. Powers are more of an active leader ability in terms of you have to actually activate powers, but we're going to talk about them in another video that's going to follow up to this one. Don't worry about that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go through each path from the bottom up, and I'm going to talk about what kind of deck you're going to have pathway, tips around each path. We're trying to get some gameplay in as well, so you can try and reiterate what I'm actually talking about. Okay, now we're going to kick off with the most popular path, or say the most popular path, one of the most popular paths. I think the infograph actually said that it was the most popular path, but it's definitely the most universal pathway, or one of anyway, and that is Turn of Season. So when you choose this path, all of them you'll notice straight away have +7 starting life, +3 starting life, +8 starting life, and Turn of Season has +4 starting life. So choosing this, everyone starts at 20 health. This means you start at 24 health. Now, rotate through the seasons at the start of your turn. Winter means all minions have fragile. They take 1 extra damage. Spring, you gain 1 life as the player. Summer, all your minions heal for 1, but you don't gain 1 life. Fall, you draw a card. Pursuit, meaning if you're playing second, if your opponent's going first and you're playing second, that's Pursuit. That means you get 2 additional starting life. Now, we have 3 positives to this pathway, 1 negative. Okay, now the negative being obviously Winter. All your minions have fragile 1, and becoming a good player, or becoming a next level player in Mythgard, is very much comes down to playing around the seasons. Okay, so for example, let's say you've got a minion, a 3/3, and it's trading in to a 2/4. Okay, so you're gonna do one. You're gonna leave that minion on 1 health, and you're gonna be left on 1 health. Okay, if it's Winter, you're not left on 1 health. You're gonna be trading. Okay, your minion's gonna die. You're gonna lose it, and their minion's gonna survive with 1 health. Now, if I'm currently on Spring, and then I trade into it, and then it has 1 health. My next turn, if it doesn't get removed beforehand, my next turn, I will then heal for 1. So I can play instead. If I go, oh, okay, I'm on Spring, I'm going to trade here, but now that maybe I've removed their minion, now my minion's only got 1 health, but wait a minute, now it's going to gain 1 health off Summer, so that's not the end of the world. Okay, now that's just a loose example of how you can play into Turn of Seasons. But what you want to be doing, what you really, really, really want to be doing, is you want to be looking at your current season and planning, what is my next season. For example, again, let's say it's Summer. Maybe I can play an extra couple of cards, and maybe it means I only have 2 cards left in hand. My opponent has 4 cards left in hand. But let's say they're playing Rainbow's End for enchantments. Well, next turn, I'm going to draw 2 cards because it's fall. So I draw an additional card. Wait a minute, now that's fine, because I'm going to have 2 cards in hand. They're maybe going to play 2 cards, so they're going to go 2 cards in hand. Now I'm going to go to 4 cards in hand next turn. So actually I'm going to have a card advantage over them. They're only going to draw back into 3 cards unless they pull an enchantment. So knowing your seasons and reading your seasons, guys, is so important. This is where I see so many people make mistakes as new players or beginner players or players learning the game. is not playing into the next season. Always look at the next season. Now, the gameplay you can see right now that's going ahead. You can see on the far left-hand side of the screen, just above your profile picture, where my profile picture is, it says WUW, there is a little symbol, and it will say SP or SU or W. That is your current season. You'd actually need to hover over that, over your pathway to see what the season currently is. You can actually look at the tree anyway for an aesthetic clue, but you can look at that tiny little shortened code, and that will tell you exactly what season is, and you'll know what season is coming next. Turn of Seasons, guys, is the most universal season in my opinion. I would say if you're looking at making any deck that's mid-range, if you're looking at making any deck that even has control, you're looking at any deck, even aggro, like some aggro decks, not all aggro decks, but some aggro, mid-range aggro, not straight out aggro decks, you're probably looking at Turn of Seasons. It's very good. Just learn to play around its seasons, okay? Before we go to Rainbow's End, we're going to go to Journey of Souls, because that's the second most played season, and it's again very universal. So, Journey of Souls, this only gives you 3 starting life. Now, you gather a soul when one of your non-ephemeral minions dies. So just one of your minions dies, it gets a soul into the graveyard, okay? At the start of your turn, if you have 3 or more souls, return the bottom minion from your boneyard to your hand, make it ephemeral, and you lose the 3 souls. If you're on pursuits, if you're playing second, you start with 2 souls. Now this is hands down the pathway I see the most misplays with. Now there's 2 things you need to remember when you're playing this pathway. 1, it takes the bottom minion from your graveyard, okay? So if you haven't got any minions in your graveyard, so for example, when they're removing your minions because they're giving them ephemeral, whatever, you're not going to get a minion back. It's not going to give you a spell back, it gives you a minion. So it takes the bottom minion from your graveyard. You can set that up. Okay, let's say you've got 3 minions on the board, they've got 3 minions on the board. All minions are going to trade into one another, and the board's going to be wiped at the end of your turn. The minion you trade in first with is going to go to the bottom of your graveyard. So that's the first tip I have for this pathway, guys. Make sure you're dictating what minion you're getting back. Let's say you're playing mono red, okay? You're playing mono red rush. You've got a Trapezus out, you've got a Pup out, and you've got a Wyvern out, okay? It's turn 4. You're going to trade into all of them. What one do I want back? I'm probably going to want the Wyvern back because it's going to be 3 damage, rush damage to the face, and it has teleport, okay? So I'm going to trade the Wyvern first, and then it doesn't matter what order I trade the other 2 in. They just go on top. There's my 3 souls. Next turn, I get a Wyvern back, okay? That's how that works there. Also, if you're going to go one step further with that, the board clear works from left to right, okay? So it comes across the board like this, left to right. So if they play something like Thunderclap on your side of the board, or against you, your minions get cleared left to right. So if you feel like they're going to play a Thunderclap, if you feel like you're playing against blue and you're starting to get a bit of a smell of Thunderclap coming, if you position your minions, set them up as you want left to right, then the minion that gets removed first on the left is the minion you'll get back as the bottom of your graveyard. Obviously, dependent that you have an empty boneyard or graveyard at that point. Now, on the flip side of that, okay, when you're attacking, let's say I'm on pursuit. Let's say they drop a Pup down, a 2-1 Pup, and I'm playing red-purple aggro, and I've got Rider in Shadows. Okay, I play the Rider in Shadows. I trade straight into the 2-1 Pup. They've removed the Pup. They're playing Journey of Souls. They have 1 soul now in their graveyard. We start with 2 because of pursuit. So that Rider in Shadows is a free play because next turn we're getting that back because we already have 2 souls. So that is a good proactive play. I can remove their minion. I've kept the board clear, and I'm going to keep card advantage because I'm getting a minion back next turn straight away. Plus, I'm drawing a card for going second as well. So that's what you need to look at. Always look at your souls, okay? Does committing this minion mean that actually I'm going to end up getting this card back for next turn? Let's say there's a Magma Child at the bottom of my boneyard, mid to late game. Does actually trading this minion in mean that, okay, I'm going to take 4 damage from the face next time because I didn't remove the minion. However, I'm going to get a Magma Child back next turn, and that's going to allow me to clear up lethal, or that's going to allow me to remove minions. That's what you need to be thinking about with Journey of Souls. It's very easy to think, oh, this is just an aggro path that I just throw on there and just smash stuff away and done and easy, okay? So that's Journey of Souls. One final tip is ephemeral, guys. Ephemeral is a very big keyword that I see so many people, especially again new players to the game, not take advantage of against anyway. Let's say they get their Magmatar back and they drop it on the board. Yeah, they kill your minions. It's a free ephemeral. You've got no way of dealing with it. But let's say you've got Valkyrie Enforcer in your hand. That is the 2/2. Is it 2/2 or is it 2/4? I think it's a 2/4 Valkyrie that you, when you play, it bumps a minion in the opposite lane back to the opponent's hand. Guys, ephemeral cannot be bumped back to hand. Ephemeral can't go back to the opponent's hands. It can't go to anyone's hands. So when you play that, that instantly removes ephemeral. Okay, ephemeral just dies. Same with temptation. If you use temptation on a minion who's got ephemeral, you steal that minion, you trade it into their face or another one of their minions, and then it dies. It doesn't go back to the hand, okay? So if they're playing Journey of Souls and they've got a big unit out with ephemeral, then you can get rid of it with temptation. You can get rid of it with the port in green. You can get rid of it with Valkyrie Enforcer. I'm sure there's other cards. I'm not getting my head around here, but you don't need spot removal to get rid of it. You can play a bump back to hand to get rid of any card of ephemeral. That's kind of my stuff on Journey of Souls, guys. It's very good in aggro decks because you're playing small minions that are kind of trading in. That you're taking damage early on. Your minions are constantly trading. They're moving your minions. You're getting them back. Also, red decks, mono red for example, can struggle to keep a hand. You can burn for your hand very quickly. Journey of Souls can keep bumping cards back. They play a board clear, you get a card back. They play another board clear, you get a card back. It's very good at cycling your hand around and allowing you to keep your early 2/2s, 3/2 rush minions back in your hand. Control-wise, I wouldn't say this was very good. Okay, because you're normally getting bigger minions out that they're harder to remove. And then mid-range, it can work in mid-range. The issue with Journey of Souls is if you don't play into it correctly, if they are playing against you well and they're not, and you're not getting the cards to draw cards, for example, okay, you can struggle to have some sustainability. You can struggle with card draw. You can struggle to keep your minions alive. I know it doesn't sound like much, but from turn of seasons, having the all minions heal by 1, you get gain 1 life, draw 2 cards. They are all very, very good. And they can really make a difference to a mid-range / control deck, in my opinion. But anyway, let's move on to the more individual pathways now. Okay, Rainbow's End. Now, Rainbow's End and Fires of Creation are two pathways I get a lot of questions about. Mostly, how many enchantments should I run in this pathway? Should I run to make Rainbow's End worthwhile? Exactly the same with artifacts and when it comes to Fires of Creation. So if we quickly read this, so I'm just going to take a quick drink. If we quickly read Rainbow's End. Start with 7 life. So you start with a lot of life. Over double what you start with Journey of Souls. At the end of your turn, if the top card in your deck is an enchantment, draw it. So that's great. It's a great way of finding enchantments, okay? You may replace enchantments with any other enchantments. When you do, gain the replaced enchantment's mana cost as temporary mana. So you can put enchantments over enchantments and gain temporary mana. That's huge. Pursuit, your first enchantment you play may cost 1 mana less. That is huge, okay? So why don't we just play Rainbow's End with enchantments, okay? Because it's not giving us anything else. Now we're only getting the top ability if we're finding enchantments. If we're running 2 enchantments in a deck of 40, are we going to regularly find enchantments? No. Simple as that, okay? Then we're only getting the second ability if we actually get the first ability off to find the enchantments. And then we're only getting the pursuit, obviously, there, okay? But we're only getting the mana cost and all that, again, if we're finding the enchantments. As a basic rule of thumb, for someone new to the game or someone looking to play around with enchantments, I would say Rainbow's End only gains value or only starts to get value when your deck consists of around, not exactly, around about 20% enchantments. That is 8 enchantments. 7, 8, 9 enchantments, okay, is where I would say Rainbow's End is definitely viable. If you're running 5 enchantments, I probably wouldn't run Rainbow's End. You're not going to be finding them consistently enough, okay? You're on 5 enchantments, you're on 12.5% running in your deck. It's not good, okay? You're not going to be finding the enchantments regular enough. You're not going to get the top ability off enough. You're better going something like Turn of Seasons as an enchantment deck if you're only running 5. Well, technically you're not running an enchantment deck if you're running 5 enchantments, okay? 20% of enchantments, in my opinion, 8 enchantments is where I would roughly put. It's how I do it. If I've only made 1 enchantment deck, but that's how I've done it in the past. If I've got 8 enchantments running, then I'm going to run Rainbow's End. If I'm running 6, but I really want to find them, then chances are I'll maybe run Rainbow's End. Okay, if my deck's built around those 6 enchantments, then I'll probably run Rainbow's End as well. Okay, 5, I wouldn't do it with any less than that. Obviously, anything over 8, definitely. But I would say anything over 12, you're very, very going to be low on minions. All right, you can have 28 minions, but then that means it's not taking spells into consideration. So I'd be careful. I would be very careful when it comes to running more than 12 enchantments in your deck. But like I said, that's basic rule of thumb. 8 enchantments, Rainbow's End, and it's very good. Okay, it's very, very good. If you're wondering how this second one works, basically just play. Let's say you've got a desert on the board. A desert is a 1-drop enchantment, I believe. I might be wrong on that one. And then let's say you play Giant Stairway over the top of it, which is a 5-drop enchantment. So you played a 5-drop enchantment over one of the deserts. You now have the Giant Stairway, but the 1 mana cost from desert then goes onto your mana cost as a temporary mana. So that's how that works. Okay, very good if you're running enchantments. Next, we move to Fires of Creation. A deck that we don't see much at the moment, and there's a very specific reason why we don't see many artifact decks at the moment, and that's because there's quite a lot of aggro on the board. Fire decks, artifact decks are slow. They're just notoriously slow. There's no way really. You can kind of make them slightly aggressive. You can't make an all-out aggressive artifact deck really, because you need to get the artifacts on, and playing an artifact is a slow play. It's a play that you're potentially not getting damage to the face, which kind of defeats what an aggression or an aggro deck is trying to do. Now, artifact decks, if they get past, say, turn 6, turn 7, and they start finding their artifacts, they are very, very hard to beat. Okay, they are very controlly. Some of the artifacts in the game are very control heavy. They can really grind you out, they can really slow you down, and they can just sit behind this big healing wall of forgelings and just go like, yep, you're never going to destroy my artifacts. And it can be frustrating, okay? But the idea is if you see someone playing Fires of Creation, or if you're playing Fires of Creation, you want to survive to that turn 7 or 8, and then you can really start grinding players out, okay? So, this is the one that starts with the most. I think it starts with the most. Yeah, it starts with the most starting life, and you have 0 charges, okay? When you create an artifact, you gain 1 charge, and you add a forging to your hand with the mana cost, strength, and health equal to the amount of charges you have. When you create a forgeling, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may choose an artifact and place it on top. So divination, but for your artifacts. Shuffle the rest into your deck, which is huge. So you're shuffling your deck. That's the important thing to remember, guys. Not only are you looking for an artifact and you're putting it on top potentially, okay? You're also shuffling the cards back into your deck. So you're getting to rejig your deck again. Pursuit, your first forgeling costs 0 mana. And if we look at the forgelings down here, can I scroll down? No, it's not going to let me see the forgeling. Okay, this is the forgeling down here. I don't know why it won't let me show you guys the forgeling, but the forgeling is down here. And as I said, so let's say you play your first forgeling, you're not on pursuit. This will have a 1 where the star is. I'll have 1 health, and it will have 1 strength. So 1 strength, 1 health. And they also recycle around these abilities. Okay, so the first one will have armor 1, next one will have regen 2, the next one will have blast 3, then I'll go back to armor 1, regen 2, blast 3. What's more important is demise. All of these, okay, all of the cards have, when the forgeling is killed, then you gain 3 life back to your artifacts. Your artifacts gain 3 durability, so that's huge, okay? Big thing, guys, remember these are ephemeral, meaning that if anyone plays a bump back, or anyone bumps back to the hand, or anyone temptations the forgeling, then they don't go back to your hand. You don't get the hill on your artifacts. They just get removed from the game, okay? So this deck here, this pathway here, I would say exactly the same as I did for Rainbow's End. And that is that I would work on 20%. If I've got 8 artifacts in my starting deck, maybe slightly less on artifacts, purely because you get the divination. So that's a big difference here. If you're running 6 artifacts, I would probably still run Fires of Creation. 5 artifacts, possibly, but you're looking to maybe find all 5 artifacts. For an artifact deck to work, you normally want to be finding 50 to 60% of your artifacts minimum, okay? But when I've ran several artifact decks over the last couple of weeks. My favourite one is actually one created by Flake, which is like a stretcher control artifact deck. That ran, in my version, I ran 8 artifacts. And I played Fire's Creation, and pretty much every time I played a Forgeling and I was able to look at my card, I was finding an artifact to draw into, okay? And it was allowing me to set my artifacts up, it was allowing me to get control of the board. If you're running 2 artifact guys, do not run this deck. Even 3, 4, I'd even potentially argue at 5. If you're running 5 artifacts, I would even argue the fact that there isn't this is going to struggle to find the dividation. You're going to struggle to find the cards with the dividation. And if you're not finding an artifact in the top 4 cards of your deck when you play a Forgeling, that is huge. That is putting you back one step. That's slowing your deck down even more when it's already a slow deck. Okay. One last tip on artifacts, guys. But when you play artifacts, let's say I play Stretcher first. If they damage face, then say they do 6 damage to the face, and then 6 damage goes to my face, and 6 damage goes off Stretcher durability. Then let's say I play Dragon's Tooth in front of Stretcher. Now Dragon's Tooth is blocking Stretcher, and then it does 6 damage to Dragon's Tooth. So if you have several artifacts in hand, think about which ones you want to be throwing up first, which ones you don't mind being removed first, because that one can then protect all of your other artifacts. So sequence in play and artifacts can be very important, especially when it gets to late game with an artifact deck. And kicking on, guys, with our final path. I'm going to be honest, my least favourite path, it's not because I don't like the pathway, I'm not a huge fan of Reanimate decks. I feel like they are far too easy to tech against. But again, one of the massive questions I get before we talk about Discus Arcadia is, what on earth is a Reanimate deck? People in chat go, Woody, what's a Reanimate deck? People are playing these decks, I don't understand what they are. A Reanimate deck, in layman's terms, guys, is when using Discus Arcadia, your opponent is able to play the first ability. Okay, so it starts on night, so they switch to day. They discard a card. So they have, let's say they have Living Mountain, which is an 8 mana, 4 blue gem card. That's 12 strength and 12 power. You're not playing that until turn 8, really, are you? Because that's what mana you need. No, because what they do is they hit their power. So you have to activate your power. So it flips between 2 abilities when you activate your power. Okay, so you activate your power, and then it means you get to then flip to day. So it flips to day, you discard the Living Mountain, the 12/12 minion goes to your graveyard. You then, all the minions have Slayer, and every minion's opponents and your minions do 1 additional damage in combat with other minions. Now that you're thinking, well, okay, great, so what? They've got a 12/12 in the graveyard. That's out of the game now. I don't care why they're getting rid of that. Because then what they can do is then they can use other cards in the deck called necromatics. And there are other ways as well, where when that card dies, it's replaced by the bottom unit in your boneyard or your graveyard. And their bottom unit is a 12/12 Beast Living Mountain. Now this can go off as early as turn 4, really. Turn 3 if they're super lucky, but turn 4 normally is when it can go off. So by turn 4, they have a 12/12 on the board. How the hell do you deal with that? My issue with this is how you deal with it. When it comes back, it has ephemeral, and that means that you can just bump it back to hand, and it's an instant removal. Their big unit's just gone, okay? What they spent 3 or 4 turns building into is now shut down. So the way this works is you gain 6 starting life. You flip between 2 abilities when you activate your power. Night, so when you go from day to night, you get divination to, you look at the top 2 cards from your deck, and you draw a card. All the minions that didn't attack heal for 1 until the end of your heal for 1 at the end of the turn until day. Sorry. So if you keep on this, you just don't attack. They keep healing. They keep healing. Keep healing. They can't buff above what their base health is, but they can heal. Okay. Then when you hit your power again, which is going to cost you 2 mana, you're then going to discard a card. And all minions are now going to have Slayer 1 and until night. Now, the pursuit, meaning you play second, is your powers cost 0 mana to activate first time. So it's a free play. You can on turn 1, you can activate from night straight to day. You can discard a card straight away, and you can start setting up that reanimate play. Now, should be worth pointing out, this doesn't have to be a reanimate deck. This this is, I feel like this hasn't, like Discus Arcadia, I feel like in the future, with potentially future expansions or future cards that are going to come into Mythgard, we're really going to see the true colours start coming through. The ability, anyway, to give all minions Slayer is pretty damn awesome, okay? And then the ability to just look at the top of the cards and draw one. It allows you to cycle through your deck, okay? It allows you to go, I don't want that card, I want this card. I don't want that card, I want this card. If you're playing green, okay, discard a card. You can throw away Born Again. Born Again, if you don't know, is a card that at the end of your turn, if it's in the boneyard, it comes back to your hand. So you don't have to play Reanimate. You can just play this with green. And you can just keep using it every 2 turns to draw cards. Keep popping in one of your powers and keep popping it to discard Born Again, draw another card. Discard Born Again, draw another card. Discard Born Again, draw another card. Okay, it's not the best way or the most efficient way of using Discus Arcadia, but it definitely works. It's a way of using the pathway. It's a pathway that is, it was played a lot when Reanimate was popular. People soon learned how to play against Reanimate. I've not seen Reanimate now for a very long time. We've now been kicked from the game because we're talking bad about Reanimate. So, but it's definitely a path I recommend you play around with. I recommend you play around with all paths, guys. But hopefully, well, that's the video, okay? This one is one I struggled to sit down and actually think, okay, what is the aim of this video? Is the aim just to show you the pathways? Like, what is the, how do we go about explaining this video? And the hard thing with it was, okay, don't worry, we're booted from the game, it's fine. The hard thing with it was, there are going to be gameplay snippets over the video, but I feel like I'm saying stuff that people already know. But then again, I have to think that a lot of players will be jumping into Mythgard for the first time, whether that is in a year after this game, after this video launched, okay? So this is very much based at the new players. The players who haven't ever played Rainbow's End, haven't ever played Fires of Creation, they want to play it. How does it work? Hopefully that now gives you an information of how it works, okay? How the pathways work. But the best advice I can say, guys, if you're a new player to the game, is play all pathways. Even if, like, I know Reanimate's not my cup of tea. I don't really like playing Reanimate. Discus Arcadia is probably going to be my least played pathway, definitely for the foreseeable future. But that, because I've played it, I now know when I play against it, I now know how it works. And that is the best advice I can give to any advanced or new player that just sticks Return of Seasons. Just branch out. Just go, no, do you know what? I'm going to make an artifact deck. And I don't care. I'm just going to play against bots. I don't care. I'm going to throw what artifacts I've got in the deck together. I'm going to play around with Fires of Creation and see how it works. Because when you know how it works, you then know how to play against it. Best advice I can give you guys when you're learning pathways. Next video, we're going to be talking about powers and what powers suit your decks. Hopefully this video helped, guys. Let me know in the comments below if it did help. If it didn't, I'm sorry. I try to get these videos as informative as I possibly can. But hopefully it did help for you guys. Anyway, have a great day, morning, evening, whatever it is where you are. If you are watching this on if you're watching this on What's Up Woody, or you're watching it on Team Rankstar's YouTube channel, then in the description below, guys, there's a ton of links, okay? There's a link to my personal Twitch channel. There is a link to the upcoming Mythgard tournament, if anyone wants to enter that, the Moonlight Masquerade, hosted by 98.3 Media. There's a link to Team Rankstar's new player guide, which is a very, very in-depth player guide. It's awesome. It's great. It taught me a lot when I first started playing Mythgard. I definitely recommend you check it out. And there's a link to Team Rankstar's snazzy new website. Because, guys, I mean, that website, cool, it gets me excited when I look at it every time. So I definitely recommend you guys check out the new website for all your CCG needs that you possibly want, especially if you're looking to keep up to date with the contents of Mythgard. But anyway, guys, have a great day, morning, evening, whatever it is where you are. Until next time, goodbye.